Hi, this is Katja Kunterbund. My name is Kat, and we are doing a 12th night. So we can also call it 13 rough nights. And today is the first night of the ritual, and it's all about January. So it is, after all, a timeless reading. Whenever you find it, it's about the next month. That's important to know, okay? So now it is the end of December, and I'm sitting here in my first rough night, preparing the new year. And so this practice, it's an old spiritual mystic practice, is kind of meant to support timeline shifts. And yeah, it's just about having a fresh new start. And to have that, it is really not so much about what is able to come in. So it's really not about looking into the future, like what's coming towards us, what we often do with these readings, and what the heaven brings for us. But it is really about kind of erase from the sheet of January or the next month for you, erase what was imprinted, what we maybe don't want to have there. So that's the very purpose of these sessions. And it's, as I said, a very old tradition in my country, Germany. And of course, it was erased in the Middle Ages, right? But we are bringing it all back, bit by bit. And that was the message in itself, I guess. So let's move over into the reading. Hi. Let's open the space now for January. Or if you're tuning in at another point in time, that's fine. That's fine. Then this will resonate with the next month that is right now to come, right? And so I will tune into the energy. I have already picked these things, and because I'm doing 13 actually, 13 because it's 12th tide, but it's 13 nights, right? And the 13th is very important. We do have actually 12 moons in a year, and though we only have in our current Gregorian calendar 12 months, right? For whom I'm reading. So this is the reading with 12 months in a row. And then we do have the 13th, which I will use to describe how they are all connected, interconnected, and also connected with the year before and with the next year that's then to come. So, it's kind of this energy here, the spiral energy, absolutely. And the spiral, that's very much the energy, of course, of the number 13. Also in our zodiac, we have Ophiucus back. If you want to know a little bit about Ophiucus, it's in my description box because I am an Ophiucus sun. And I love to speak about Ophiucus, but not every day, so read it. Okay, and only if you're interested, of course, right? So 13, very important number. And so these nights, these 13 nights, traditionally they really did it 13 nights in a row, and the 13th was then really to solidify the energy and to conclude it, actually, which we will all do, also do like that, and all do, right? Yes. We all need to do that. Okay, so I have a lot of herbs from my garden here, and I thought that we would use sage and rosemary and whatnot, like, but I was told that's not necessary. We only need lavender. And I was like, what? Really? And then I was digging for the rosemary, and I thought they were in the bag, but no, I only found bay leaves there. And bay leaves, that's the wreath around the crown. So I put it here in the crown, right? And lavender helps to clear the crown chakra. And that made me wonder. And then I asked actually a deck of cards, which isn't a deck of cards really, but it was from a kitchen picture. It was like a huge image with all these little nice pictures of herbs. And when we moved and wanted to put it away, I kind of did it like that to kind of keep them, because I love all these fairy things, right? And I got this. Actually, I have to translate that later. It's dill in German, and it's this herb which looks like really an open crown. And I asked, really, is that why I only had lavender? Because it's only about cleansing the crown chakra. And then they gave me, I forgot the name also in English. But dandelion is, yeah, dandelion. So, oh, thank goodness. And dandelion, that's actually 360 degree, and that's like full circle, and even from a bubble. So that's big, right? And that's a huge confirmation for myself, because I was channeling that like all the time when I did an overview for the whole year. And we also came again through it with this rainbow here, which really came through in an ancestor reading, which might be already online or not. You will see that. So yeah, but it is really about full circle, right? Full circle, and opening the crown full circle. So this is big. And they are really showing me it's not only, 360 degrees in, like this, but hey, we are 3D. So this is really big, right? Really like a dandelion. So gold and 360 degree and opening the crown. And we only need to cleanse that. Okay. So this is lavender, and we want to use it to smoke here a little bit. Yay. Thank you. I love the scent of lavender, by the way. I use these a lot. And I actually can share them because I have like really a huge gang of lavender in my garden. And so I will put a link down in the description box. I guess it's kind of rare to get them, and my garden is in a very sacred space. It's a Sophia community, so it belongs kind of to church ground, but it's not used kind of from the church anymore, but for gardening only, gardening purposes, which is like a little bit like creating paradise, right? So I love that. And Sophia, Sophia, hello. So I'm very at home there. It's, yeah, very good for the divine feminine essence. And yeah, let's burn a little bit to cleanse the crown. I just need to breathe and enjoy the silence for a minute, really. Okay, now I'm good. And also we are allowed to burn this, but really no other, like no big cleansing herbs are necessary, they are saying. And that's great, right? Oh, this lighter, he's good. But somehow it's not working, and I thought about it would be nicer, I guess, to use the candle. So they wanted to, yeah, they want that. Because again, it's the clear sentience, right? See what I am drawn to do. It's like crazy. What are we doing? We are kind of So it's about the flame, the orange, yellow, orange, golden, yellow flame. And this needs to be, I mean, it was ignited already. Yeah, this is us. We are ignited already. But this is kind of earth, core, I feel. And you know what I wanted to tell you? Usually I use this one for these. But our guides were saying, nope, we take this today. And this, of course, looks absolutely like Earth core, right? Ha, love that. So this is ancient energy, divine feminine, paradise within, or that, I feel, is here on the table. And this card is the number 6. And I have, yeah, I wanted to tell you, I have this day for every month. I have laid out a piece of paper, a bigger one, right? Normal printer size. And then I put things on it like I showed. And I started with a crystal for each. Then they said, okay, now the candle. And this is totally relevant. You know, the crystal, that's kind of your grid, your wisdom. Ha. I haven't thought about that before because that needed to be unfolded in the message, of course, right, in the session. So the crystal is about the grid. So we have our grid, we have our wisdom, we have, and I know you can't see the card yet, but that's meant to be. So, but it's kind of about that. It's interesting, yeah. So she wanted to say hi. It's ayahuasca, right? And aya means soul, and huasca, that means kind of wine. So it is really just, you know this, shamanic medicine, I guess, have heard about that. And that's wine for the soul. And it's used actually for different purposes, to totally cleanse and rejuvenate and have this deep, 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 yeah, not only rest, but renewal from within. And I guess it says renewal on the card. Rebirth, yeah, so that makes sense. Rebirth, right? So it is kind of about the renewal. And it also, of course, connects to your inner mastery and to your highest self, kind of. That's what you can do, but only if you are at that point anyway. You know, you can't just consume something and expect, like, you can't like do it like that. Oh, ayahuasca, oh, okay, it does this and this also. Okay, I do want to have, you know, have this experience like that, and then I take this. No, this is not how shamanic works. But the shaman actually feels what the participants need and what they, yeah, what would support them. So as you can clearly hear, I'm not a fan of consuming just, you know, and also whenever you do something, you do need to have very clear intentions. And that usually comes with a shaman. And a shaman, that's really someone who transcends realities and who walks in all dimensions at once. And that's why she, you know, can tune into your field and, yeah, kind of feels how to heal and how to, you know. So that's that. Having that out of the way. And this is a herbal astrology deck, and linked to this plant are Neptune and Pluto. And this makes so much sense, right? Pluto, it's the rebirth energy. It's this, in tarot, it's the judgment, right? Like resurrection. And Pisces, Neptune, is often seen as the hanged man, and I feel that totally. So we can do that, though I'm also not the biggest fan of assigning astrology to every card. And also I do feel, I don't know why I need to say that, but I feel it's super important for you who are tuning in, I don't know why this comes up, to really understand that it's about you, right? It's about you. It's about where you are at. And it's not about the other things, like the ayahuasca that gives you that, or the sign, yeah, for example, Pisces, that makes you spiritual, right? Or this that makes you spiritual. No, everyone, you know, every zodiac sign, of course, right? We are not limited to a zodiac sign, and we are not limited to, you know, there is a lot of BS going on in our belief systems and in spirituality, in fact. And so I don't know why this is coming up, but yeah, just know you're perfect as, oh, we have this card. This card says, like, learn to love yourself. Ooh, like how you really are. And that's what we are tuning in right now with this crystal. This is your grid, right? And this is high-level spirituality. It's like tuning into your own core, your freaking own core frequency. Not tuning into someone else's belief system. Not tuning into a guru who's, from your perspective, so much higher evolved. No, your highest evolvement comes with tuning into your freaking core. Ooh, can you get that message? That's so important. Wow. Yeah, some of my guides are a little bit and that needed to be said, right? Absolutely. And I guess you kind of know it because we have desert sunset, which kind of says that you've been through the desert. And being in the desert means you've been there 40 days only listening to God, which is kind of your highest self. And we just had 15:15 here, yeah. So Lucifer was condemned for saying, you know, I'm God too. And basically that's, you know, what humanity is awakening to. So this can help, of course, with awakening the contact to your higher self. And I'm hearing conduit, so this can be a conduit to kind of link you, you know. But you don't need anything external to reunite with your core and with your truest self and with your innermost being, right? You don't need anything from outside. I needed to say that because we have that card and I know it's very trendy. And whenever something is trendy, I'm like, I don't like that. So it's super clear for me what's trendy. That's kind of, that must be kind of, you know, creating a loop. Everything what is trendy creates kind of loop energy. Oh, that's channeled. I hadn't thought about that before. So interesting. But makes sense right now. I guess I will think about that tomorrow more. But for right now, it makes perfect sense. Ooh. And this pink smoke was very, very good. So, yeah. So, yeah, scent, right? We have scent here. Okay, so we had the, yeah, we are back right here. We had the, I shall mention scent opens the limbic system in your brain. And that's the channel for the soul. So conduit, right? Conduit. Everything you smell is a conduit that links you to soul's experiences. Also, of course, past life, parallel lives, whatever you believe, right? And yeah. And smell is important. And it helps, of course, the brain, right? Because the limbic system is in the brain, right? It helps the brain to tune into, for example, when I think about vanilla, I think about safety. Or when I think about roses, I think about this soft but warm. I mean, how can we describe the smell of roses, right? Wow. So, but we do have actually the desert sunset. And I will try to describe that. I shall. I'm hearing that, so I have no idea. Ooh, a little bit fresh. Immediately I heard Morocco, like Morocco. Totally. Love that. But also just like South Sea energy, Tahiti, or I don't know. So like very, it comes with a fresh breeze also. Ooh, it smells like this looks. How interesting. Yeah, and I wanted to tell you actually how I kind of prepared everything, right? So I started with the crystal for each month. Then I drew the candles, and literally I took all candles that I have right now here, like different colors, different scents, and I took them face down so that I wouldn't be distracted, and I shake them a little bit, and then I drew them clear sentient. And I'm, as I said that before, right? I'm very clear sentient. So I drew them, and this golden yellow color came out, and that was so funny because I already had picked that myself and planted it there, because I already had kind of as an overview energy for the new year picked out this card, right? This crystal, which is sunstone. And so I already work with this color, and it will show up later again in this very message. So I love that so much. But yeah, so this color is very, very, very dominant, and it wants to be obviously here, right? Because it kind of drew my attention to it. So yeah, you can stay there. Okay. And then next I drew a scent for each month. And then I guess it was the mandala. And no, first it was the light, the connecting light. And this is the kind of the direction we shall go. And I have made a picture of this so I can read that, like how it's on the card, because it's just good how it's written. And yeah, that's nice. Okay, I just wanted to look what it is. Okay. Yeah, it says one step at a time. And this fits because I'm just explaining how I'm not called to read that right now, by the way, but I should just read this one step at a time. So, and explain how I kind of prepared that reading. And, you know, it's like this page was like this, like it is on the screen now. So really the light was at this position, and the stone was here, and the sand was here, and it was all like that, you know. And then there are also links to, for example, here's a link, which is this one, to February, right? And here's a link, which will come up later here, to actually October. No, September. Sorry, September. So we do have, from January, we do have gates into February and into September. And this all kind of showed up while I was preparing all these things on these 12 cards, which are, you know, papers, which are sheets, which I laid down, of course, intuitively, totally, you know, and there are a lot of things happening then, and even how they connected or not connected. That was a whole reading in itself. So it's like I was so stunned it took me 4 hours, I guess, to prepare all that, and maybe even longer. And I pictured everything, you know, I did photos of like every sheet and every step, actually. Yeah, steps, see? I did a picture from every step. And that's kind of also a message, because that helps grounding, I'm hearing. Yes, okay, so I understand. That helps grounding the energy. It's like creating memorials, like with every little baby step. And not like we are told, yeah, you must have this big goal. And then it's, for example, I'm opening a channel, right? And so now I should look forward to 10,000 subscribers and then I'm good, right? No, that's BS, right? I'm already good, right? Because I love myself as I am, right? And I'm just expressing myself. And it's totally logically that there is kind of not a big echo, because my voice just is starting to pour out, right? And this is just an example take it for whatever you do, if you're here at all, right? Because, like, as I said, channel is just starting, and here is only one little crystal, which I kind of think maybe it's one person listening. So hi, if you're there, I love you very much, and I'm glad to share that, right, with someone. So yeah. But actually, you know, I mean, it's, for me, this is a shared space anyway, because it's shared with the angels and ancestors and future, past, present me. So we are already kind of full company, like full party, right? So what I wanted to should say actually, with these steps, it's really about honoring each little step, and to even be at the place to feel good and secure to open up a channel before there are a million other steps. And you know that if you are doing anything, you know that there is a ton of steps happening in the unseen, actually, a ton. Like opening up the vortex, clearing out limiting beliefs, kind of collecting your seeds, kind of aligning with who you truly are, right? And then cleansing it all, and then digging out, you know, the weed you don't want to have there. And then kind of you're tending to your vortex kind of seemingly forever. And also, if we do really do a business plan, you know, like I did stuff like that earlier, you know, as a coach. And so you have 4 sections, and 3 of them are in the unseen, like here. And then the last quarter, that's then when you go out, kind of. And the last quarter, when you go out, that's where I am right now. That's then still part of kind of the preparation. And everyone would tell you that when you start doing something, the starting point, that's not when you're ready. You're ready after you did it quite a bit, right? And then you have stabilized your grid again, right? Your energy in your grid. And so that's what you are witnessing right now with my first readings. It's kind of me tuning into how is my energy unfolding while I do readings, while I'm shooting, right? That's different than just me communing with my guides and my higher self all the time, you know, in my mind, in my life. It's different to have it like on point on the table, and to how to structure, how to open up for someone else's energy. That's new for me, right? And I felt that very early on in the reading, that I had to disrupt my prepared stream because I had to speak to someone, right? And that's actually, of course, what I want to do. Oops, sorry. But I cannot know how this feels until I'm in it, right? And that's what they are telling me. It's like skiing, right? You have to put these things on your feet to experience. And skiing is a really good example, because where I am, we are in winter. And I'm even sitting here with my blanket full on my body, and I was thinking, oh, it looks like I'm totally under a blanket of snow, right? And that's nice. And I also have this guy here, which is meant for these smoke things. I don't know the name, but they're too big. But he wanted to be here still. He's kind of a little ancient ancestral protector here for our space. And it's very much a guardian of the forest, right? So, where were we? Forest, garden, guardian. Oh yeah, I know why he came through. Because I have, I do art, and mostly it's way more worked over, like this one. I kind of combine photography and painting and whatever, kind of a lot. And this one looks very natural, and I do have other versions where it's not so natural, but more worked through. But still, he wanted to come through like this, because that's the energy. That's kind of rough, again, like raw, I wanted to say. Raw, natural. Like, we want to have the raw, natural you, right? Because we are all, imagine, we are all like trees, right? And when you start growing, you think about, well, I want to bear fruits, right? And so imagine a cherry tree trying to bear apples. That won't work, right? And that's the message with the crystal and the inner core and the grid. You have to know thyself, right? As they say. So know thyself and know your blueprint and tune totally into your own frequency, into where you've come from. Like originally, like your highest self, right? And that's then how you can kind of, I want to say, produce yourself, which sounds crazy, but I'm hearing that. And yeah. And yeah, I mean, your higher self has created this life, right? And so you are a creation of your higher self. And you want to be formed and molded and all that to become like who you as your higher self planned it out, right? Like, yeah. So that's that. And he has the snow here, right? So the snow always, of course, gives me this protective energy. So we are fully protected. The little seeds are fully protected. But see how the crown reaches high? I love that. So yeah, I am doing a calendar this year. And I share that on my page also. And this is the January card. But I will start the calendar with March, because that's a traditional, like the natural Earth set, yes. The natural start, of the year with March. And then we do have 13 moons, and I do it like that because I go, I want to have, that doesn't belong here. Otherwise, I'm again speaking, I just saw 432, like 432 hertz, right? Earth frequency, core frequency. So nice. Yeah. And so, yeah, okay. And I am allowed to say at least that Ophiucus, the 13th sign, right, connects us to the galactic core. That's kind of the gateway to the galactic core. And that's where the spiral is meant to be. And so we can really see why it's not a coincidence that was cut out. And if we don't have the spiral, we don't have the evolvement, right? And then we are in this loop energy, kind of capped. categorized in 12 sections, which is not at all what astrology is meant to be. So it was just, traditionally, it was just wisdom of the soul. Like we could really read in the stars about soul, about our light, basically. That's a map for our ascension. So yeah, it's really very clear. It's not kind of mental, but it's really linked into our body, you know, and tree of life, they are saying, and yeah, and it's really in ourselves, right? And the light of things, yes. I have here a little pile of things that came through right in front of the reading, which is always great, and also the images for later. And so they were saying to me, take your spirulina and tell them. So yeah, so I tell you, ooh. Now these are the moments I love so much. I took kind of a pile of them with me, and I have already taken some. So this is kind of the random number that stayed here to demonstrate. And how does that look? Like a downward pyramid. No, like a pyramid actually. Yeah, but I kind of saw it like that. So that's then a downward pyramid. And that's like the roots, right? And they were saying, yeah, because you might wonder why is there a pencil, right? And that's a connection here. Okay, so good. Wait a minute with that. And let's take the pencil before, because after we had whatever we had with the light, yeah, after we had this light message, then I got the pencil. So this pencil is linked to this light message with step by step, right? Step by step. And it's like fresh green. So, and green is prime matter. So that's nice. And it looks like spring green, like fresh green, like really early growing grass, right? And this goes very well with this step-by-step message. And these pencils, they are in a box I got because it says 72. And that was kind of a time period where I was kind of stalked with the message, balance, spirituality, and practicality. I was really stalked with that. And this makes so much sense because I do have Saturn in the 12th house as well as the moon. So, and by now I totally have figured out what the spiritual purpose of that is, and I don't want to bore you with that right now, but I guess I have written it in the description box, because it's really interesting, of course, how do the readers read and through what, you know. And this of course goes also with a clear sentience, but because it's in actually in Taurus, so there you have the clear sentience, moon 12th house Taurus, right? And the Saturn there, yeah, that's a whole other layer. But what was the message, guys? Don't let me hanging right now. So okay, so now I'm getting it. So I was kind of distracted. And the green matter, right? It grows with the sun, with the light. So I should remind you that, of course, you have to take your vitamin D, right? This is super important, really. They said that. So vitamin D, super important. Stay connected to the light. Stay in, you know, that's important. But what we often forget is this. And this is spirulina. And this is what feeds our mitochondria. Ooh, see how this goes like an arrow now? I love that. And yeah, so this, and I was reminded because of how beautiful that fur is standing there. and kind of stretching all arms out, right? This crown is so vibrant. I love this. And yeah, and so this is super important, of course, to feed our mitochondria so that they can fuel our light body. This is literally where our energy comes from. And again, they are saying here, and again, what I mentioned, cosmic core, you know, it's yin energy, our origin point, kind of. And so this is super important. Yeah, both, you know, the sun, but then within ourselves, within every cell, we have these little mitochondria, which are the most ancient versions of ourselves. If you see it biologically, that's just true, right? It's the most ancient version of ourselves. We are all one. It's this anima mundi thing again. It's this cosmos. We are part of Gaia, right? Huh. So, kind of a unexpected message, but I love that. Especially because it's all about being rooted here in the middle of winter, right? Ooh. And with this, the 24th of December being said to be the birth of Jesus, right? This is also, of course, about being rooted in Christ consciousness and again in the heart, in the higher dimensions, right? And I feel that right now in my heart. So I have already tuned into that during the session. And now my left ear is ringing like crazy. Ooh. And you know what? Right before this reading, I was hearing like the silence in my head so loud, kind of ringing on its own. These, I don't know if you have that, but it's really this beautiful, vibrant sound of silence. That's kind of my favorite, favorite sound ever, of course. So, but let us go back here to the message. I mean, it's all super synchronistic, and as I was unfolding that here on the table, I was kind of amazed, super amazed, and of course curious how it will turn out for the other month, right? I'm kind of drawn to look under the cards because I have them all face down on the papers, but of course I'm not doing that. So we unfold as we are told, step by step, right? Babies, one step after the next. So this is our session for January, right? And we need to stay focused in January. As you might hear, I'm kind of tempted to be distracted, which makes sense because I'm studying, right? And also I really saw that with me kind of wanting to create all readings at once, which isn't possible, right? So yeah, it's, yeah. Now they are drawing me to that, but I wanted to first come here. And I am allowed to, they are saying. So this yellow, because we already have it covered, this is lemon quartz. And this reminded me of the sunlight. And I already spoke about that and I kind of referred to that, but didn't really said that, right? So lemon quartz. And of course, this crystal might help you. And I don't know what this one is. I have forgotten to check that, but he came through to me personally a few days ago, and he named himself Fairy's Gold. And that's why I don't need to look him up, because that's Fairy's Gold, right? It's all clear. And I wanted to present that to someone, but they said, no, that's for you. So I was okay, then that's for me. And he was already on the table, but when I drew all crystals, I put him back because I should. And then I drew them for January, which makes so much sense, right? And he actually has, here it looks like 2 eyes, if you can see that. And a lot of stones actually have that. You can really kind of feel the consciousness in crystals. And a lot of people name their crystals, right? And yeah, so that's good to do. And I mean, it is higher consciousness, right? Crystallized. They are holding their grid perfectly, and that's why I have so many of them, because doing this overview of the year, I wanted to only have one, for each month. But, and at first I didn't actually, because I already had picked one crystal. But they really came through with this deck, and they were like, no, we need more. And then, okay, I drew one for each, sheet for each month. And after I did that, they kind of came through again. And as you see, and I already told you, this kind of is our entrance, and this goes to February. And now they are saying, okay, and this goes then into September, so 7th month traditionally, right?